Edward McMillan-Scott decided to become a vegetarian at the age of 60 in response to growing evidence that meat production is one of the major contributors to dangerous greenhouse gases.
Last Christmas, I just decided to stop eating meat altogether, and at the same time launched a campaign to try and encourage people to think about less meat in the context of global warming.
To do this, McMillan-Scott, a member of the European Parliament, recently chaired a hearing in the European Parliament titled "Less Meat Equals Less Heat" to highlight the issues involved in preparation for the UN Climate Summit in Copenhagen.
UN figures suggest that meat production is responsible for up to 18% of global carbon emissions. This includes the destruction of forest land for cattle ranching and also the production of animal feeds such as soya.
McMillan-Scott invited ex-Beatle and famous vegetarian Paul McCartney to speak at the Parliament. McCartney is a long-time campaigner and launched the Meat-Free Monday campaign in the UK last June.
I urge you, each of you, to do your bit for your people, for their children, and for the planet they will inherit. Go meat-free one day.
To add political weight, McMillan-Scott also invited UN climate change guru Dr. Rajendra Pachauri.
We have to use every means to mitigate the emissions of greenhouse gases, and I'd submit to you once again that cutting down on meat consumption would be an extremely effective way of doing so.
As part of his campaign, McMillan-Scott has produced handouts which indicate that livestock uses 70% of all agricultural land, and the production of meat requires 16 times more energy than producing a vegetable equivalent, and that at the present rate of consumption, meat production will double by 2050. He's also quick to point out the effect meat production has on people in the developing world. Even with recent figures showing that eating less meat would greatly benefit not only the climate but also our health, becoming a vegetarian to some people still seems extreme.
The idea that somehow vegetarianism is wacky must be changed, and one solution that individuals can actually contribute to reducing global warming is to stop eating so much meat, or stop eating it altogether.
McMillan-Scott, Sir Paul McCartney and Dr. Pachauri signed a joint statement calling on governments and individuals to recognise the importance of meat and its impact on health and the environment. Robin Faure, EU TV for CNN World View.